afternoon. Man, what a day. What a day. A day of deep learning, of intimate sharing, music for intimacy, music for protest, and dance as revolution. Incredible, incredible day. Thank you, Nitte. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. I'm an architect. I work in Bangalore with my wife, Sunitha, and when we get a project, for instance, the clients come and they present us with a program. And it usually looks like that. It's got, all the rooms that they need. It's got, a line at the bottom which says circulation. And it's kind of ambiguous what that circulation is. And really, for me and for us at the office, the heart of architecture lies there. It lies in that area where actually we deal with liminality, with what's in between things, and where the meaning of projects actually come through. So, this is Japanese calligraphy, and the calligraphers often say, they talk about the fact that when they draw these wonderful letters, that they aren't actually making the black line, they're finding the white space. And architecture for me is that, the stuff that happens between program, between rooms, creating spaces for confluence, for congregation, and for memory. So there are three kinds of things that I want to talk about today with regards to liminality, with this idea of things that are in between and of great value. The first is the threshold. And we've all seen this in all of our traditional homes. There's this thickness at the edge of our buildings where the building meets the city and where the private space of the building meets the public space of the city. And there is this wonderfully generous gesture that a lot of our traditional buildings make where that transition is made very gently, making places for people, for activities. We've lost this in so much of our architecture today, so this kind of thickness where that transition is made effectively. And that thickness can be quite deep and quite varied. For instance, this is the Jama Masjid in Ahmedabad. You can see that that's a threshold till it actually becomes program in the deep darkness of that wonderful mosque, that this varying grade of light allows you a gentle transfer from the public world to an intimate place of refuge. And this is an amazing drawing by Avinash, a young practitioner in Bangalore. But you can see that all of these stepped wells, and we've got a lot of them all across the country, where water collects and people use this water. But the way the transitions are made between the edges of that well and the water, there's so much of a variation that you can go down to the water, or when when it's full up, that you get a different revelation. So very, very gentle ways in which to deal with that. And some buildings are actually made as thresholds in and of themselves, that they don't have another layer. This is a wonderful building in Australia by Glenn Murcutt, the Pritzker Award-winning architect. But it's a beautiful room, one of the great rooms in the world. You sit at the head of that Shoalhaven River looking out onto the horizon, and it's a beautiful room that has scale, but it is a threshold. It's just a room that allows you prospect out into an amazing environment. And so look at that view. I mean, everything detailed in a way that gives you the whole of that eastern prospect out onto the Shoalhaven River. So buildings can do this. They can create this gentle way in which to navigate public and private space. The other idea is the idea of the society of rooms. This is a phrase coined by the great American architect Louis Kahn, where he talks about plans as a way to bring rooms together so that they form a society, really talking about how they come together and how they make space of real meaning and potential. So this is the Management Institute in Bangalore. There's the building. You almost don't see it when you enter it. There's the portal that you take to get in. But once you're in this kind of liminal world of inside and outside, of scale and light, of darkness. It's incredible. You're not really sure what this is. There isn't any program. You've not encountered any doors. You're just in a space that is fluid, allowing all of the breezes to come in, all of the light to come in, and you feel like you're in a place of repose, that you can stay for a while. When Doshi was asked what he thought timeless, Doshi is the architect of this wonderful building, and so someone asked him, what's a timeless building in your opinion? And he said, it's a building where you go and you're late for an appointment and you say, chalo, we'll sit for some more time. That's timeless architecture that allows you to linger. And so you enter this building and you're in all of these wonderful places that have no program. There's no, it isn't a classroom. It's a place to meet friends. It's a place to engage, accidentally run into someone, have a quick chat. And then you come into something like this. This is an amazing triple height corridor in that institute, which connects different parts of that campus. But what's amazing, that's the plan of the building. So I've just shown you getting in the portal, taking a right, and then coming into that beautiful space, the first number 8, which is the big sort of triple height pergola. But for me, the plan is a metaphor for education itself, that the plan set up on this yellow spine, which is the spine of all of the major circulation in that building, that's liminal space. That's the stuff between programs, and that's actually the identity of that institution. It gives you the metaphor that maybe the institute will provide you this framework of values, of principles, and then onto that, over your life, you plug in all of the new things that you learn, the administration, the classrooms, the library, the faculty, that this spine is unchanging. It's kind of, it sets the character of the institute. And so other architects have added things to it, but it still retains its potency as a metaphor for education itself. And so just a beautiful series of environments, open spaces for people to meet and to engage with each other. And then this is another project by a famous American architect called Louis Kahn. But for me, this project is also only about the in-between space between rooms. So that's the first scheme he made to present to the sisters, and the last one after 2 years is the scheme he resulted in. And the reason why it got constrained so much is because the sisters didn't have any money. The first scheme was 5 times over budget, and those are all of the programs, all of the staying accommodation for the sisters on top in gray, and all of the colors at the bottom you see are where the public outreach of the sisters and the nunnery engaged with society. So the church, the classrooms, the library, the refectory, all of that sort of front-facing, and the sisters staying in private behind the forest. And as you can see, as he comes to the end of that sequence of design inquiry, he comes to a plan where everything is mashed up together in one diagram. And it creates then a kind of metaphorical understanding of what the sisters' mission was as an order. They didn't see a separation between where they lived and their public service, that the plan somehow encapsulated this collision or this enmeshing of their private lives and their public service. And I think engagement with the client, understanding their budget, and this negotiation brought Kahn to a realization of what the building was about. And so you see the nature of that open space, which was very, very large, becoming almost next to nothing in that last scheme. This is a project that we did in Bangalore. It's called the Bangalore International Center. And here it's kind of the reverse of that diagram of Kahn's building, where here, from the competition scheme to what we built after almost 7 years, the public space gets stretched out. It's a promenade now inside the building, and that public space is really the heart of the BIC. It's got no program, it's places for people to meet, to have book readings, to hang out, to have a coffee, and that really is the life of the building. And so here are some pictures of that building showing you all of these terraces and places for people to engage with friends. And it's really like Mercat's building a veranda, which engages with the landscape and creates lovely places to sit and relax in the busy city. And these are other areas of that building on the upper floor. And here's 2 more schools, again predicated on the notion of the in-between space. This is IRA Academy in Bangalore, which again, these are all the spaces that are outside of the classrooms, flooded with natural light, full of natural air and ventilation. And so it's a really comfortable place, with both places for the gregarious ones who need to have a big gang with them, to the ones who are a little shy. And so there are places for all kinds of kids to enjoy and engage with this building. And so here are some pictures of that light-filled atrium, naturally ventilated, but with all of these sort of places for congregation and engagement. And also terraces that then have furniture, etc., that you can use to occupy. And this is another school. 50% of the school is outside of the classroom. This is called Neve. And here also a lot of the public spaces with places for people to stay outside of the classrooms and engage with their friends. And the last kind of threshold that I want to talk about is the idea of the portal. And this is a kind of metaphysical idea that sometimes this idea of the liminal space is actually a transition into some sort of a outer body experience that you sort of engage with. And all of you have felt it when you go to an old building, that there's something about it that you recognize in your bones, which you don't in modern buildings so much. I mean, an old Jain temple, this play of light and dark, that they take you into the darkness, into a small chamber where suddenly you feel like you're in communion with something that's beyond the real world. These are some wonderful drawings of that kind of environment with beautiful dark chambers inside. This is Peter Rich's drawings. But these dark sepulchral chambers where light is barely getting in, and somehow when you're not given the ability to see, all of your other senses then are heightened. And Avinash again drawing these dark chambers as a sequence within a structure. And to end, this is Akbar's mausoleum in Sikandra, where you go through these series of gates through the mausoleum into this chamber. And then beyond that chamber, you're into this deep sort of passage that takes you to the chamber where Akbar is interned. And you can imagine in the previous slide, you can see that there's all of this wonderful finery, turquoise and gold foil and all of the rest of it. But when you come into this chamber, it's absolutely stark without any embellishment, no stimuli, there's almost no light. And somehow in that environment of real darkness, you feel you've transitioned into a space of real meaning, of profound meaning. Architecture doesn't do that anymore. So if I was to go back to think about the program that my clients give me, and I've got that circulation, then one wants to wonder that maybe that's actually the heart of the building, that they are made out of those thresholds, they're places to meet your friends, they're places for chance encounters, places to contemplate. And hopefully someday we'll do a building where it takes you into that metaphorical zone, into that space where you touch a higher consciousness. Thank you.